Why did my RC ESC fail after connector soldering? Imagine spending hours building your RC car or drone, only to find your electronic speed controller stops working after you soldered new connectors. It can be frustrating, but understanding what might have gone wrong can save you time and money. When an ESC fails after soldering, it often comes down to a few common issues. First, poor soldering technique is a big factor. If the solder joint isn't shiny and smooth, it's probably a cold joint. Cold joints have high resistance, which causes heat to build up when the ESC is running. This heat can damage internal components or cause the ESC to stop working altogether. To avoid this, make sure to heat both the wire and the connector at the same time, then apply enough solder so it flows evenly, covering all surfaces without blobs or gaps. Second, applying too much heat for too long can harm the delicate parts inside the ESC. Overheating during soldering can cause the circuit board traces to delaminate or break, which leads to failure. Using a soldering iron with a temperature around 350 degrees Celsius and working quickly helps prevent this damage. Third, using cheap or low-quality solder and tools can also cause problems. Low-quality solder often doesn't flow well, resulting in weak connections that can fail under load. Always choose rosin or solder made for electronics, and use a reliable soldering iron with a clean, tinned tip. Fourth, connector compatibility and wiring mistakes are common culprits. Swapping connectors without double-checking wiring polarity or compatibility can cause the ESC to malfunction or burn out. For example, connecting a connector with reversed polarity can fry the internal electronics. It's always best to double-check wiring diagrams and ensure correct connections before soldering. Mechanical stress after soldering is another issue. If wires or connectors are moved or flexed without proper strain relief, solder joints can crack or break. Secure wires with zip ties or heat shrink tubing to keep everything stable. Lastly, bad solder joints can cause the ESC to run hotter than normal, which might trigger thermal shutdown or damage components. If you notice the ESC temperature is higher than the motor's, it's a sign that resistance in the wiring or joints is causing extra heat. To prevent this, always inspect your solder joints carefully. Use a magnifying glass if needed to confirm they are shiny, smooth, and fully cover the wire and connector. Remember, good soldering is about patience and precision. Use a soldering iron rated around 350 degrees Celsius, pre-tin both the wire and connector, and work quickly but carefully. Double-check your wiring before soldering and secure your wires afterward to avoid stress. Following these steps can help you avoid ESC failures after soldering and keep your RC vehicles running smoothly.